know a second is just a second. Barely time enough to catch your breath, I reckon. That's a long, long time to live without your love.
My first guest of the program this afternoon is certainly a fixture of the Australian music landscape. 3 platinum, 5 gold albums, 2 gold DVDs, a massive 12 Golden Guitar Awards, plus being Male Artist of the Year, multiple Mo Awards, 4 ARIA nominations, winner of Dancing with the Stars back in 2009 on Channel 7. You may have seen him there. I certainly remember him. And he is currently the ambassador for Record Store Day in Australia, Saturday the 16th of April. And he's my first guest today. Adam, we say a very good afternoon to you. How are you?
Well, wow, what an intro.
What an intro. And I mean to say, what have you done? I mean, you haven't stopped. How do you fit everything in?
Oh, look, it's an amazing industry we're in. It allows you to be creative. It allows you just to keep trying different things, you know, and I feel very blessed and lucky to be in it.
Adam, how did Dancing with the Stars come about for you? I mean, so I know your background of music and so on. Was it from there that you picked this up, or did you audition, or what happened?
No, obviously I've been touring and releasing albums for quite a few years, and I guess the network and the production company thought, well, we better throw a left-footed country singer into the mix and see what happens. That's how it happened. Simple as that.
Well, mate, you ended up having 2 right feet because you did it right, and you fell in love with the lady you were dancing with, of course, and we'll leave that story aside for a moment. But as well as all of that, you came out to win the thing.
Yeah, mate, but look, anyone who watched it knows that I didn't dance my way through the finals. I probably talked my way through. I think when you're a performer, it doesn't matter what arena you're in, you just perform, even if you have no idea what you're doing.
That's right.
That's kind of what I'm up to.
Yeah. And do you still dance today?
No, mate, completely null and void.
It's just the voice now. It's no dance movements.
Exactly, mate. Look, the music is always my first passion, my number one passion, and off that branches all these other things that you feel very blessed, as I said before, to be able to partake in. And there's a lot of other things I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about food and cooking. I'm passionate about racing, race cars.
Yes.
And,
yes.
And it's funny, because my music has allowed me to do all those other things, in some capacity, and so that's why I feel very, very lucky.
Adam, the listeners may not know this, but I'm going to take it back to the age of 10, because you were playing drums at the age of 10, and certainly I would think that being a drummer would help you in the dance movements.
Look, being a drummer helps in quite a lot of areas. Obviously having that rhythm, and I suppose the drums is kind of like the foundation of a band. It's the rhythm section. The drums and the bass form the rhythm section, and that's kind of the foundation of what everything else is built on. So having probably an understanding of music from that level, I think has helped me over the years, for sure. Yes,
and from there, of course, you were playing drums, I think, in Perth, from memory, and then you went across to Sydney in 1997, I think it was.
That's right, 97. I moved across, but I was just, I didn't have a record deal or anything in place. I just went across because that's what my heart was. Just wanted to do music. And so I thought to myself, I'll go over there for a couple of years. If it all turns pear-shaped, then it doesn't matter. At least I know I gave it a go, And I think that's the important thing in life when you're passionate about something.
And that, Adam,
go for it.
That was where your first album came out, wasn't it? The self-titled album you had, on Flying Nun Records or something, yeah.
Yeah, 98.
98.
The first album came out, yeah.
What's your inspiration for writing? Because you write a lot of your own material, of course. Where does that come from?
Yeah, I do. I write, and I also record songs from other songwriters and friends that I write with as well, and always find that the inspiration just comes from just everyday things that you come across. There could be a turn of phrase, it could be a headline you see in a newspaper, it could be sitting around with friends and someone just says something that's a little quirky or a little different, and you go, oh. And I always before I used to carry a little notepad. Now, obviously with iPhones and all that kind of stuff, you just pull up your notes and you tap in the little line, and then when you go to songwrite, you use those. That you go back to that little page of all those little inspirational quotes and titles and things.
So from those quotes, do you then develop a melody line, do you?
Yeah. You sit down with the guitar, and it's obviously if it's a line or a theme that's sad, you'll go to your sad chords, things like that. And if it's a fun, happy one, you just start off with a upbeat sort of feel.
You're in a major key instead of a minor.
Exactly.
Yeah. There was a song you did back in 2009. I'd like you to tell me about this one, because this is the time you were on Dancing with the Stars. It was called Hell of a Ride. Was this about Dancing with the Stars?
No, mate. No, that came out before I ever went on the show.
Right.
And it was basically, I sat down with a very good friend of mine, a songwriter, and he said, "What are we going to write about?" And I said to him, "You know what? If it was all to end today, if that was it, someone said, that's it, you can't sing anymore, you can't do it, that's all done, what would I think?" And I said, my first reaction would be to say, thanks to everybody, we had a hell of a ride, and let's move on from here. And so that's where that song came from. It's very much a unifying song of everybody who's been through a lot of stuff together, and you all sit around and you propose a toast, you lift your glasses high and go, you know what, we had a hell of a ride.
I'm a little like you too. I think you've got to live for the day, don't you?
Exactly, mate. Yeah. And also, no regrets.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can look back, but you can look forward, don't you?
Absolutely, mate, you do. And when you're passionate about music, and obviously we're going to talk about record store day and stuff. When I first started listening to music, I'd go into a little record store and I'd sit there and I'd talk to the guy across the counter.
Yeah.
And we'd just talk music, talk about which bands and what's happening, and that's when you know you're passionate about something, because you don't just do it for a living, you do it in your spare time as well.
You see, it's in your blood. You don't. You never lose that, do you?
Exactly.
Yeah. And you mentioned that your motor car sports too, and you're still involved in racing?
A little bit. Not to the extent I was. I used to race the V8 Ute Series, but now I do a little bit of speedway racing, dirt track racing with Speedway Legend cars. And they're like little miniature versions of 1920s, 30s hot rods with a little engine in it, and they look great, and they go great, and they're a lot of fun. So I do a little bit of that now.
Oh, and that's a nice little pastime for you too. Tell us about Record Store Day in Australia. It's coming up on the 16th of April, only a couple of weeks away now. Tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, Records Day is a celebration of independent record stores, and as we sort of touched on before, I remember when I first started listening to music, I'd go into my little local record store in Victoria there, in Colac, Victoria, and the guy behind the counter was just a complete music nut,
Yeah.
And so you just go in there and you talk music. It wasn't like going to a supermarket just putting something off the shelf. And I remember as a young teenager then, in the early 80s, going in there and he's telling me about this new album, and that was huge and everything. And I ended up buying it. My first album that I bought as a very, very young teenager, and it was Thriller from Michael Jackson.
Oh, okay. Back in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just passion about music, and that's where I discovered so much music in those little independent stores. And so Record Store Day is about celebrating those little stores that are about the music. You can go in there and you can talk for hours about music and discover things. And look, it's going great. I think it's a fantastic thing. Record Store Day has a whole bunch of stuff happening. It's things like competitions, sausage sizzles, limited edition releases, all those sort of things, which is just a great thing for people to remember the little guys,
I noticed too there's going to be some limited edition vinyls available too, and we seem to be turning back into vinyl. I've got a lot of vinyl myself at home, and I've been buying lately, and there seems to be something about the quality of vinyl you don't quite get on a CD. There's
a real resurgence, isn't there?
There is.
I think, and that's happening in a lot of things. I mean, in a lot of different areas of our life, we start looking back and go, you know what, it was pretty good back then. Let's let's have a bit more of that. and I think that's what's happening. Vinyls and little record stores. I think that the whole thing, mate. The whole that saying, if you don't use it, lose it.
That's right.
You're going to lose it. And we don't want to lose these little record stores.
No, we certainly don't. We've got to support them. We can find out more about the stores and their activities too on a website. It's called Record Store Day, so recordstoreday.com.au.
Yeah.
and very, very easy to find your local record store participating there. So recordstoreday.com.au, and it's for the independent stores, and give them some support, friends, because they do need that, and we need to keep them going, not like the little greengrocer down the road who went out of business. We need to keep these guys going. We really, really do. Adam, grand to catch up with you, mate, and I dare say we'll catch you at another stage sometime, perhaps even in the studio when you're down in Melbourne next time. Love to have you around and have a bit of a chat, bit of a play, and hear you play some guitar live on air too.
That would be, I'd love to, mate, and look, a pleasure to speak to you, and look, mate, we'll catch up with you soon, and yeah, might even bump into you in a little record store one day.
You never know. It could be around the corner down in Colac. You just never know, Adam. Good on you, pal. Take care, mate. Okay, bye-bye to you. Adam Brand there, one of the ambassadors for a very special weekend coming up, Record Store Day in Australia. It's on the 16th of April.